If they X out an ad, that's a negative experience. And our goal is to make it so that as few people as possible come to the site and have negative experiences every day, and as many people as possible give us positive feedback on the content that they're seeing on Facebook. And we've, over the years, developed pretty complex infrastructure for optimizing this. And we have this team that's just focused all on this. And just to give you an example of the type of work that they do, in the last 2 months alone, they've really been focusing on friend requests and making it so that the amount of friend requests that gets sent that people don't end up wanting to accept goes down. And in the last 2 months alone, the number of friend requests that have gotten rejected, so friend spam, has gone down by 40%. So that's these are big numbers. There are a lot of people on Facebook who are acting with a lot of different motives, and we want to make it so that everyone on the site can have a really good experience. Can connect to the people that they want, can hear from the people that they want, but also aren't having these negative experiences. So the team has been working on this stuff, but one of the things that's been really interesting is one of the biggest drivers of negative experiences and negative engagement has unfortunately been games, right? And because there's this whole mix where there's all these people who love playing games, who that's one of the primary reasons, if not the primary reason, why they come to Facebook. But on the other hand, there are all these people who like doing other things and for whom games gets in the way. And anytime there's a newsfeed story of a game, they view that as spam, right? That's in the way of their experience. So games are kind of this really interesting duality, right? Where on the one hand, games are really this phenomenon, right? 200 million people or more are playing games on the site. If you poll Facebook users on what the top things that they enjoy about Facebook are, in the top 5 are games, right up there with being able to connect with friends and send messages and photos and all that. So it's really a phenomenon. I mean, there have been at least 4 really meaningful, large companies that have been built that are building games, and a lot more that are building really innovative things that we want to make sure have the chance to build great things at large scale if people want to play with them. On the other hand, games are also one of the biggest complaints that we get. Right, so just like they're in the top 5 things that people like, they are often right up there on the list of top 5 things that people wish weren't there. So the question for us is kind of how do we manage that, right? And we've had these levers in things like newsfeed products that we've built that basically make it so that we can measure across the network how valuable a piece of content is, right? So photos, for example, people like a certain amount, so they tend to get a certain weight, and then depending on how much a given person likes them, they see plus or minus that amount of photos in their newsfeed. And what we found is that just doesn't work for games, right? Sorry, I'm getting a phone call. Sorry. What we found for games is, we try measuring what the right weight is for game stories across different types of games. And when we turn it up, we get complaints. And when we turn it down, we get complaints. And so it's been this really interesting experience where a lot of people are asking, so as we've tried to tune this and get it right, people are kind of questioning Facebook's commitment to games and whether we care about it. And I understand why people have thought that historically. But I mean, the reality is that we want to build and enable anything that hundreds of millions of people want to use. It's just been very tricky for us to find exactly the right balance to do that. So today we're going to talk about a number of things that we're doing that I think are going to lay a really solid infrastructure for this community and in this industry, so that people who want to play games can get all the social context that they want about those games. People who don't see a lot about games in their experience, and people who want to build these games and experiences have good, stable ways to reach people. So it ends up, after thinking about it and building out all this infrastructure, a lot of the solutions are actually pretty simple, right? I mean, if someone is playing a game and they want to get a lot of context from that game, then don't limit the amount of stories that they see in newsfeed from their friends playing those games. Right? If someone goes into live feed and they play a game every day, why wouldn't they want to see every single thing that their friends are posting within that game? But on the other hand, if you've never played that game, then you probably don't want to see all the context from a lot of your friends who are playing those games. Right? I mean, one way that we've talked about this internally is, in real life, if someone, if you had no shared context with someone, so let's say one of your friends plays Farmville and you don't, that friend probably would not come up to you in real life and say, hey, I just got this new cow on my farm, right? And they might say, hey, I found this new game that's really cool that you should check out. But giving that kind of context is really valuable and is the kind of thing that we want to emulate on the site, right? So if you're playing games actively, we want to make sure that you get a lot more content from them. If you're not, and you don't want to hear stuff from a game, we want to make sure that that's not a part of newsfeed for you. If you, or at least, you might want to know when a few of your friends start playing a game, but you don't want to get it on a day-to-day basis. If you are playing a game and you want to get back to it every day, we want to make sure that there's a stable link in the navigation for you to get there. And if you don't play games, or if you stop playing that game, then that link should fade away and not be a part of your navigation anymore. And if it's in there, then the people who are building games for the games that you're playing should have a really easy way to increment a counter next to the navigation so that you can see, okay, I play this game every day, and now there are 4 things that I need to go do there. So anyhow, that's kind of the high-level overview of what we're talking about today. Again, it's really kind of basic and fundamental infrastructure and policy for how the site works. The goal is to give all users high-quality experiences every day when they're using the site. Games are a really important part of the experience for a lot of users, so we want to make sure that those who want this as a really deep part of their experience can have it in a much deeper way than they have it today, and for all those who don't get it. So now to go into more detail about the exact changes that we're making and all the specific policies around this, I want to invite Jared Morgenstern, who's the PM for the games team that we have at Facebook, to walk us through all these changes.